The little girl didn't scream. She didn't cry. She ran. Her small legs pumped, fueled by a terror so pure it burned away the tears. The gravel bit at her sneakers, each crunch a sound too loud in the sudden, awful quiet. She burst through the doors of the Iron Saddle Saloon, a place her mother warned was filled with rough men. Right now, it was a sanctuary. The bar went silent. 100 conversations and clinking glasses stopped. Every eye turned to the 10-year-old girl standing in the doorway. Her chest heaved, her face was pale as bone. Her eyes scanned the faces one by one. They were exactly as her mother described, large men in worn leather vests, arms covered in ink, faces weathered by wind and sun. They looked annoyed, confused, even amused. She ignored them, her gaze landed on the man at the corner of the bar. He was bigger than the rest, with a gray beard and shoulders that stretched his leather cut. A patch read, "President." She walked straight toward him. The other bikers shifted, making a narrow lane. She stopped and tugged on his denim jeans. He looked down. His eyes were dark, tired, and held no trace of warmth. "What?" The word was a low rumble. She didn't flinch. She held up a crumpled, grease-stained napkin. Her hand trembled, but her voice was a shard of ice. "He took her. He took my sister." Grizz almost laughed. He was about to tell her to go find her parents, but then he saw her eyes. There was only a horrifying adult certainty. "Who took your sister?" he asked, his voice softening. "A man," she said, pushing the napkin into his hand. "In a car. I memorized the license plate." Grizz looked down at the napkin. Scrawled in shaky crayon was a series of letters and numbers. He looked back at the girl. Her focus was unnerving. She wasn't just a scared kid, she was a witness. "Tell me," he said, facing her fully. The entire bar was listening, a silent congregation of leather and steel. "We were at the park," she began. "Lena, my sister, was pushing me on the swing." A blue sedan pulled up. It had long scratches on the passenger door, like a cat did it with metal. A man got out and told Lena her mom had sent him. "Lena knows not to talk to strangers." She told him no, but he grabbed her arm. He was fast. The girl's breath hitched. He pushed her in the car. I screamed, but no one was close. He drove away. "The license plate," Grizz prompted gently. The girl took a deep breath. "Kilo Victor Charlie 742. She recited it like a prayer. "My dad was in the army. He taught us the phonetic alphabet so we could be clear on the phone. He said it could save a life one day." A ripple went through the room. This child was trained. Grizz stared at her, respect dawning. He looked at the napkin again, KVC 742. It matched. "What did he look like, sweetheart?" asked a man nearby. Maya turned. He was wearing a red baseball cap and glasses. He had a small scar right here. She touched her chin. It was shaped like a tiny moon. The detail was so specific that any doubt evaporated. A monster had snatched a girl, and her sister had given a perfect report. Grizz made his decision in a single heartbeat. He looked at his brothers in the heavens angels. He saw the cold fire in their eyes. They had a code: you don't mess with kids. He stood up, his size casting a shadow over the bar. He placed a calloused hand on Maya's shoulder. "What's your name?" "Maya." "And your sister?" "Lena. She's 16. "Okay, Maya. We're going to go find Lena." Grizz turned to his men. "Cypher, run it." Cypher pulled a laptop from his saddlebag. Grizz pointed to Doc, a former paramedic. "Stay with her. Call her parents, then the cops. Tell them we're going for a ride." Doc knelt in front of Maya. "We've got this. Your sister's going to be okay." For the first time, Maya's composure fractured. A single tear traced a path down her dusty cheek. Grizz turned to the room. He didn't shout. Gear. The room exploded into quiet, purposeful motion. It was the movement of a single organism. Keys jingled, boots thudded on wood. Outside, the air hummed. The sun dipped, casting long shadows. It was a ritual, the zip of leather jackets, the click of visors, the guttural sigh of Harley engines turning over until the air vibrated with controlled thunder. Grizz swung a leg over his massive black and chrome bike. Behind him, 186 bikes fell into a practiced formation. 186 men had dropped everything for a little girl with a crayon-scrawled napkin, Cypher wrote up, holding a map. Got him. Daniel Fryer. Address is a rental out on Route 9, past the old quarry. Secluded. Grizz nodded grimly. Lead the way. He gave a sharp twist of his throttle. The wave of chrome and steel surged forward onto the main road. They moved like a cavalry unit, a rolling tide of righteous anger. Drivers pulled over as the procession thundered past. This was a hunt, the miles dissolved. They rode through fading sunlight into the sparse countryside. Grizz's mind was on Maya and her steady voice reciting the alphabet of a nightmare. Kilo Victor Charlie. He had a daughter once. The thought was a cold spot in his heart. It's why he'd listened. Every man riding behind him had someone they were protecting. Today, they were all riding for Lena. Next right, Cypher signaled. Grizz held up a hand. The formation slowed to a menacing growl. He signaled the main group to block the road entrance. Grizz, Cypher, Bear, and two wiry twins known as the Crows made the approach. They cut engines a quarter-mile away and coasted. The house came into view, a rundown rental surrounded by woods. A single light burned downstairs. Parked in the driveway, half hidden, was a blue sedan. Grizz's eyes narrowed. He saw the jagged scratches on the passenger door. Bingo, the five dismounted with predator silence. The Crows melted into the shadows to circle the house. Grizz, Bear, and Cypher walked up the creaking porch steps. Grizz paused at the door. He heard the faint sound of a television. He raised his fist and knocked 3 times. The door opened a crack on a chain. A man peered out in a red baseball cap and rimmed glasses. What do you want? Grizz stared, his eyes boring into the man. He saw it, the tiny crescent-shaped scar on his chin. We're looking for a girl. 16 years old. Her name is Lena. The man's face went blank. Never heard of her. Get off my porch before I call the police. Funny, Grizz said. We already did. They're on their way. He saw the man's jaw tighten. Your car, nice blue sedan, but you should get those scratches looked at. The man's composure crumbled. Bear's hand shot out, grabbing the door and holding it firm. Let's try one more time, Grizz said. Kilo, Victor, Charlie, 742. The man's face went white. The mask of innocence dissolved into the ugly face of guilt. Just then, a crow held up 2 fingers. 2 people inside. Grizz's focus remained locked on Daniel Fryer. It takes a special kind of coward to snatch a kid from a park. You can't prove anything, Fryer stammered. We don't have to, Grizz rumbled. You just did. In the basement, the Crows had found a grimy window. They heard a rhythmic thumping. One crow slipped through, his brother following. They moved through the dark toward a newly constructed drywall. One crow punched a knife through the wall and began tearing it apart with his bare hands. Inside, they found Lena bound to a chair, duct tape over her mouth. Her eyes were wide with terror, but a flicker of hope ignited. The thumping had been her chair against the wall, a desperate drumbeat for help. One crow sliced the bonds, the other peeled the tape. You're okay, he whispered. My sister, Lena choked out. Maya? She's safe. She's the one who sent us. Relief washed over Lena. She was saved by her little sister. Upstairs, Grizz heard the splintering drywall. He knew they had her. He gave Fryer a final look. Your time's up. The crows emerged from the side of the house, supporting a trembling Lena. Fryer's shoulders slumped. The road was blocked by 184 angels of vengeance. Of flashing police lights painted the trees. The bikers held Fryer until officers arrived. Doc pulled up, and Maya scrambled out. Lena! The sisters collided in an embrace, clinging to each other on the ground. Maya's dam of control finally broke. The bikers kept their distance, a silent circle of guardians. They were hardened men, but not a single eye was dry. Grizz watched from the porch, feeling a fierce satisfaction. After a few minutes, Maya walked toward him. She stopped and threw her arms around his leg, hugging it tight. Thank you, she whispered. Grizz slowly raised his heavy hand and patted the top of her head. Anytime, kid. The story of 186 became a legend, a symbol of their code. But the ripples spread further. Daniel Fryer was an operator in a trafficking network. Data from his house led to arrests across 3 states. Dozens of victims were freed because of a 10-year-old girl who was paying attention. The bond became unbreakable. Every year, Grizz and his men would ride to the girl's house for a barbecue. The intimidating president would sit in a lawn chair, letting Maya explain a video game to him. Lena recovered and became a child psychologist, helping the quietest children. Maya never lost her eye for detail. She joined the police academy and became a legendary detective in the missing persons unit. On the day she was sworn in, her first act was to drive to the Iron Saddle Saloon. Grizz was in his usual spot, his beard more gray than black. Detective, he rumbled, smiling. Maya smiled back, placing a hand on the bar. Grizz. I believe I owe you a drink. He chuckled. Keep your money, kid. Your tab's been paid in full for a long time. Heroes don't always wear capes, sometimes they wear leather. And sometimes they are 10-year-old girls who refuse to be silent. The world is saved by small acts of bravery, by the people who choose to listen, and by those who choose to ride.